You've had the conversation multiple times. You've shown them the evidence, the receipts, the behavior, the impact on your family. You've begged, you've pleaded, you've given ultimatums and backed down or followed through, and it still doesn't change anything. You've tried walking away, being more supportive, being less supportive. You've Googled at 2 a.m. You've read the books. You've tried Al Anon. Here you are, still stuck. Still watching, still trying to figure out why nothing works. I'm going to tell you something today that is going to completely change how you understand this situation. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Nothing has worked because you've been fighting the wrong battle. Every approach you've tried, the evidence, the ultimatums, the conversations, they all have one thing in common. They're all designed to convince someone, to get them to see the truth, to acknowledge the problem, to agree with your assessment of reality. But there's a big problem with that strategy. An addicted person is a defensive person, and they're not going to process information in the same way that you will. It's not that they're stupid. It's not that they don't love you. It's not that they're choosing the substance over you, even though it feels exactly like that's what's happening. The part of their brain that processes consequences, the part that's supposed to say this is causing damage and needs to stop, that part has the volume turned way down. Addiction literally changes how the brain evaluates consequences. So when you lay out your evidence, when you show them what this is doing to your family, their brain's just not receiving that information the same way your brain is trying to send it. You're trying to speak logic to a brain that's on a completely different operating system. This is why you feel like you're going crazy and why you can show them the same evidence 100 times and get the same response. This is why ultimatums don't stick. This is why the conversations turn into fights every single time. It's not because you're doing it wrong. It's because the approach itself was never going to work. Now, here's where it gets even more important to understand. When you come at someone in denial with logic, with evidence, with confrontation, even when it's completely justified, you accidentally become their adversary. Their brain is protecting something. It's protecting their sense of identity, their sense of being a good person, their ability to function and keep things together. And when you challenge that, even with love, even with facts, their brain reads it as a threat. And what do humans do when they feel threatened? They defend, they minimize, they deflect, they get angry, they go further into denial. So every time you push harder, you're actually making it harder for them to see the problem. Not because you're wrong, because the way you're trying to help is triggering the exact defense mechanism that's keeping them stuck. I know this is frustrating to hear because you've been trying so hard for so long, and your instinct to push harder completely makes sense. But pushing harder on a door that opens inward is just going to keep it firmly stuck. What works is getting them to see you as their ally, not their adversary, which is the role that you've been accidentally playing. Not the person presenting the evidence against them, not the person trying to convict them of having a problem, like a prosecutor. Let's shift you into the position of being their lawyer, the person who understands how they think, who knows what they're afraid of, who speaks their language, who understands what's actually keeping the denial in place. When you understand what's actually keeping the denial in place, the fear underneath it, the identity that's protecting it, the shame that's hiding, and you start addressing what's holding it up. And when you do that, you remove the threat. Safety instead of pressure, something shifts. I know this works because I've watched it happen with over hundreds of clients over 20 plus years and thousands more in our videos and programs. Not too long ago, I was working with this really successful guy. He's providing for his whole family, showing up for work every day. Now, he knew he was drinking too much, but every conversation about it made him feel like a failure. Like everything he was doing right counted for nothing. So I didn't try to convince him that that was the case. I started validating what was actually true, that he was showing up, that he was caring a lot, that his frustration with being treated like he was terrible made complete sense. And when I did that, something unlocked. He became one of the most self-reflective people I've ever worked with, found his way to sobriety on his terms. His wife, his mother, the rest of his family, they say the difference is like night and day. These strategies work because you stop fighting against their identity and start working with it. It's a completely different strategy. and it gets completely different results. If you want to know how to actually apply it to your specific partner, your specific situation, your specific family dynamic, I'd like to invite you to my Denial Breakthrough Challenge. It's a 4-day live coaching program where I walk you through the exact strategies that actually work with someone who doesn't think they have a problem. Not more confrontation tactics, not how to build a better argument, no script trying to make them admit that they have a problem. Heck, you don't even have to bring up the topic of alcohol or addiction, because for some of you, I know that even the hint at that topic is going to send things spiraling. In the challenge, we're going to be covering the deeper layers of influence psychology, specifically how to position yourself so that you're no longer the obstacle between them and the truth. It's 4 days live with me, real coaching on real situations. The link to register is in the description below. I've watched people spend years doing everything right and getting nowhere because their strategy was wrong. You don't need to try harder. You need to try differently. The link is below, and I'll see you in the challenge.